Hello, this is Douglas Robinson. I am a solutions consultant with Beyond 20. In this video, we're going to be reviewing a new feature or a new SQL table that appears in Cherwell version 9 or 901. It's not a feature that you'll actually see within the administrator tool or within the rich client. Specifically, we're talking about a new table that holds a copy of every blueprint that you publish within Cherwell. Now, if you looked at the release notes, which I'll pull up here in a second, there is an item that lists that the publish history of every blueprint is contained within the database now. And I'll go ahead and pull up those release notes here. So that is development request number 36981. So blueprint contents are now included as part of publish history. And so I saw this and I thought it would be kind of neat to go over it in a video. Because my first reaction to that release note was that we might be able to go through the publish log and find maybe an option to extract the contents of those blueprints since they're being stored within SQL. However, I have found out that this is not actually exposed to the client at all. So if you look around in the administrator tool or in the publish log or anywhere else in the settings, there doesn't appear to be any kind of button that lets you access this data. However, if we look in SQL and query the TrebuchetBlueprint table that appears now, we'll actually see a list of all of the blueprint details that are getting published. So here on my screen I have a query that is querying the TrebuchetBlueprint table, and what I'm getting out of it is a list of blueprint names, blueprint path, which is the file path that's stored on the local machine. And in addition to that, we have a couple of other pieces of information. Of course, there's IDs for the user that published the information. There's some date and times for when it was created, published, last modified, and things of that nature. And then finally, all the way off on the right, we have a blueprint column. Now this is actually an interesting column because it is not just a standard text column, it is an image column, as you can see here. What that means is there's actually file data getting stored into this column. Now there's not an easy way to export this at this moment, and that might be something that comes out a little bit later. I did reach out to support and I found out that there's no way to really access this right now, but the reason that it's important that we bring this up in this video is a copy of every blueprint is getting stored here. Over time, this table is going to get somewhat large as it starts storing this data. So in my SQL query here, I actually have added a size in kilobytes column, and what this is doing is we're counting the length of the blueprint column in this table, and we're just dividing that by 1024, so our size is in kilobytes and isn't 1,000 times higher than it really is shown on the screen. And if you look at this, some of these blueprints are large. I'm sure you've seen the size of some of the blueprints you've been publishing, but they can easily be a megabyte or a couple megabytes each, and over time this is going to accumulate. And you may see your database size start to expand over time as your blueprints are being stored into this table. So what you will want to do in order to clear this out, especially if you can't use it, is you'll need to go into your administrator tool and periodically just go into the publish log and clear items out that are older than a certain date and time. So you can either clear the entire thing out or you can clear log entries before a certain date. Now, prior to this version, there was another table that's also being cleared by this, which is the Trebuchet Publish History and Trebuchet Publish Log tables, which in a way they also contain some of the same data. Now those tables hold information specifically about the definitions that are being updated, whereas the TrebuchetBlueprint table holds the entire blueprint contents. So if you needed to get really granular, you could see information about a definition that's being modified in the Trebuchet Publish History table, and there's actually in-depth information about the individual new death and old death information stored in the op details column. It's very useful. So if you go into the administrator tool and you clear out the publish log, it'll actually clear out entries from all of those tables, including the new Trebuchet Blueprint table. So if you start seeing your database expand in size, that'll be a good way to combat that and start removing some of these records that are taking up space in the database. Now, your publish log might be more useful to you, and you may have some concerns about when you should clear it out. So if you're thinking about doing so, it may be beneficial for you to go into your publish log and go to File and just export it out into a CSV or other type of file here. That way that's not taking up all of that space in the database. But really the big concern here is just not having thousands and thousands of blueprint records staying in your database, indefinitely. So it's definitely something that you'll want to consider as you move forward in this version. If you have any questions about this or other functions or updates to Cherwell, feel free to reach out either in the comments section below, or you can also contact us at our website at beyond20.com or on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/beyond20llc, where you can also subscribe.